Ballons d'Or. Nobody else has more than 5. A World Cup. More goals, more assists, more impossible moments than the sport has language for. Oh, the world calls it genius. But that word is too small, and it's wrong. Because what you are watching isn't a great footballer. It's something a Greek philosopher described 2,400 years ago and warned us we would never be ready to see. Around 380 BC in Athens, a man named Plato watched his teacher get executed by the city he loved. Socrates, the wisest man alive, sentenced to death by a vote of ordinary people. And it broke something in Plato. He looked at the world around him and decided it couldn't possibly be the real one. A world that kills its wisest man is a world of shadows. So he built a school, the Academy, and inside it, he taught one terrifying, beautiful idea. He said, everything you see, everything you touch, every person you admire, none of it is real. It's all a flawed copy. Somewhere beyond this world, Plato argued, there exists a realm of perfect forms, the perfect circle, perfect justice, perfect beauty. And everything down here is just a smudged, broken imitation of it. You have never, in your entire life, seen a perfect anything, only shadows of it. To explain it, Plato told a story that's still taught today. Imagine prisoners chained inside a cave their whole lives, facing a blank wall. Behind them, a fire casts shadows of things passing by, and the prisoners, knowing nothing else, believe those shadows are reality. They name them, study them, argue about them. They have no idea they're watching a degraded copy of something real that exists just behind their heads. That, Plato said, is all of us. We spend our lives mistaking shadows for the truth. And then he added the part nobody likes to repeat, that if one prisoner ever escaped, ever saw the real thing in full light, and came back to tell the others, they wouldn't believe him. They'd mock him. They might even destroy him. Because the shadows are comfortable, and the form is blinding. 24 centuries later, in Rosario, Argentina, a boy was born so small, the doctors worried. Lionel Messi had a growth hormone deficiency. At 11, his body had stopped growing, and his family couldn't afford the treatment. This is where most legends would tell you about the grind, the endless training, the will to overcome. But that's not this story. That's the other one. Because everyone who saw Messi as a child says the same impossible thing. He didn't learn it. The coaches couldn't teach what he did, because what he did couldn't be taught. He wasn't built in a gym. He arrived already knowing, as if the talent wasn't earned at all, but remembered. And this is exactly what makes Messi different from every other great. He isn't faster than everyone. He isn't stronger. At his peak, he barely ran. What he does instead is something stranger. He does the perfect thing, almost every single time. The perfect weight of pass, the perfect angle, the decision that makes no sense until 3 seconds later, when it's the only decision that could have worked. Watch him slalom through an entire defense, and the defenders aren't beaten by speed. They're beaten by a geometry they can't see, and he can. Pep Guardiola, who coached the greatest team in history around him, gave up trying to explain it. He told his staff simply, don't try to describe him. Don't write about him. Just watch him. That is not the language of talent. That is the language of someone describing a form, the thing itself, that words can only smudge. Plato had a word for this, and it's the eeriest part of the whole theory. He called it anamnesis, the idea that we don't truly learn anything new. We remember it, that the soul has already seen the perfect forms before birth, and genius is just the rare ability to recall them. For 20 years, the football world tried to measure Messi with numbers, with stats, with tactics, tried to reduce the form to data it could file away. And every time, he did something that broke the spreadsheet. The goal against Getafe, where he ran from his own half and rewrote Maradona's most famous moment, cleaner. Then, in December 2022, in Qatar, the one shadow left on his legacy, the World Cup he'd never won, the thing his critics held over him like a verdict. He lifted it. The argument was over. Not because of a number, but because the world finally, collectively, stopped arguing and simply looked. But here's the warning Plato buried in the beauty. The form lived inside a fragile human man, and the world made him bleed for being perfect. Because perfection is uncomfortable. For years they refused to see it. He disappears in big games. He's not a leader. He only works at Barcelona. In 2016, after losing yet another final with Argentina, Messi stood in a tunnel, broke down, and announced his retirement from the national team. The most gifted player who ever lived, ready to walk away, not because he wasn't good enough, but because a nation kept demanding the shadow act like the men around it. The prisoners, mocking the one who'd seen the light. That's what Plato actually warned us about. Not just that perfect forms exist, but that when one finally appears in front of us, in the flesh, we won't recognize it. We'll resist it. We'll pick at it, rank it, demand it prove itself by the rules of the shadows. Because to admit you're looking at the real thing means admitting everything you called great before was only ever a copy. It took the world the better part of 2 decades to stop debating Lionel Messi and simply accept what was standing in front of them the whole time. Messi is what Plato warned us about. Not a man who became great, but the perfect form itself, the one that turns everything around it into shadow. Plato said we'd spend our lives staring at copies, certain we'd never touch the real thing. And then, for 20 years, the real thing wore number 10. And we almost missed it, arguing about whether it was real.